Talking Missouri State men's soccer with the head coach of the Bears, Michael Seabolt. Coach, a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for carving out some time.
I really appreciate it. Great to meet you, and look forward to chatting a little while.
Well, you all are on the heels of a successful season. You just wrapped up a 12-win campaign, second time ever in program history. You get a first-round bye. At one point, you had a 13-match unbeaten stretch. What was your favorite part of coaching this year's team?
It's the same thing you have every year, honestly, which is the guys. You know, the experiences, the opportunity to work with the staff, administration, and then obviously the student athletes, most importantly, and just those day-to-day interactions and the training and the travel and the games and the wins. But it's those experiences that you share together, and that you form lifetime relationships and lifetime memories, and those are the best things. That's why I do this job. You know, I want to compete and I want to do those things and help. But the most important thing is the mentoring and the opportunities with the student athletes.
This year's NCAA tournament appearance was the program's sixth consecutive. You've been on the head coach, I should say, for 3 seasons. You've been on staff with Missouri State since 2007. How have you been able to have that sustained success getting to the postseason?
Well, it's built on the backs of the student athletes again, right? And so what kind of athletes do you have? What is their commitment level? What is the training like? What are the things that they're doing every day? That's so important. And then, of course, you're relying on your assistant coaches, and we've had some cool assistant coaches that have invested so much in the program, and some of them played for the program, right? And so we've continued to have guys come back and give back after the playing career, and then, of course, the administration around us. And then the other thing that's happened is the investment in Missouri State University and the growth of the university as a whole. And we benefit from those things, right? So as the school grows, enrollment grows, we built a new stadium. We're investing in athletics. We're moving to Conference USA for all the sports other than men's soccer, who's going to the American Athletic Conference, which we're super happy about. But all these things of investment have all added up and given us that opportunity. Now, opportunity is not enough, right? So now you have to take that opportunity and you have to then make it happen, and that's what we've done. We've done just a really good job with recruiting and retaining elite student athletes, and we've taken advantage of those investments in order to create a very professional and very high performance environment. And then there was a lot of work done over time with the coaching staffs that came before me, and even when I was here as assistant coach, an associate head coach, and an acting head coach, and all those times where so many people, including Coach John Leamy, who preceded me, put so much investment into this program, the alumni, and it's just huge. And then can't lose sight of the financial side. The schools certainly invested in us, but we have so many alumni and boosters that have contributed. And college athletics requires the support of outside income and outside finances, and whether it's football or soccer. And we've had some really cool people that have stepped up to give us. We're not spoiled by any stretch, but we have what we need to be successful and compete at an elite level, and that's a great place to be.
I want to touch on something you brought up. You talked about former players coming back, giving back to the program. Much like broadcasting, coaching is, as you've mentioned, a relationships-driven business. I'm curious, what kind of positive impact on recruiting does that have, that guys see, hey, this isn't just you do your time here and you leave. This is really a family and to borrow a term, a fraternity of brothers going forward.
Yeah, it's massive, and I think there's so much pride that alumni see when the team continues to do well, and and I think certainly we got some guys that loves the sport and want to get involved in coaching and stay involved in coaching, and then what better place to do it when you already have that built-in experience, right? Kian Yari was an All-American player, and he's in his first full year, finishing his first full year coaching with us, and he's got that experience as part of that Bears family, so now he can bring the way we play, style of play, attitude, the way we train, but he can also bring that off the field. Who are we? How do we carry ourselves? And what does it mean to be a Bear? And bring that pride to the guys. So yeah, it's just really cool. And then from a recruitment standpoint, it's an obvious connection. I mean, they're able to sell their experience and then how things are continuing to improve and how they want to see us do even more. And so can you come be a part of that and not only have the experience I had, but hopefully have even not a better one, but a progressive one, right? One where we're continuing to chase even and more for the program. So it's been really, really cool to see. And it's a pleasure for me to get to work with guys that I've had a chance to coach, and we already have that lifetime relationship. And now to see that grow into a different role, it's really, really cool.
One of the guys you currently coach, Jesus Barea, is undoubtedly one of the best players in the country. Recently named to the Mac Herman Trophy semifinalist list. He was a all-region selection in the United Soccer Coaches all-region teams. I'm curious. You've had so many talented players you've coached at all your stops. How does this guy stack up against some of the most talented players you've been able to coach?
Well, it just came out today that he's an All-American as well, first team All-American. So that just got announced, I mean, 20, 30 minutes ago. So hopefully breaking news a little bit.
Breaking
I
news on the
say,
podcast.
there you go. Of course, by the time this goes out, maybe it won't be as new, but that's awesome. So we, how does Jesus stack up? I mean, it's so hard to compare, and we've been fortunate to have got coach guys that have done it at a very elite level, and coach one guy that was the National Player of the Year in Division Two, and boy, Roy Fink was his name. He was awfully good, and we've seen guys go on and play in MLS, and we've seen guys go on and play in the Premier League and all these things. So we'll see where he stacks up when his career's all over, right? Right. We'll see what he does. But in terms of in college, what he's done at Missouri State University is truly elite, and he's certainly one of the very, very best. I got a few on the wall behind me that have done very well too. But he's certainly one of the very best, and I believe that he is the best player in college soccer from this season. And unfortunately, we didn't go a little bit further in the NCAA tournament for him to show it because I think this team was deserving, but we in the end we didn't get it done. But I believe he was the best player in college soccer this year. I think a lot of coaches know that he's been the best player on the field for so many games for such a long time, and I believe he will be an MLS draft pick. I hope. I believe that he will. He's out there at the combine, and I will believe he will be an MLS first team player, and he's very, very, very deserving. He's an elite competitor. He's elite every day in training, and he's got some special talent. He also benefits from some tremendous guys around him that were amazing players of their own that made the team and gave him those opportunities, made the team successful. And I know that'll help him in the pros too. When you put him with other good players, he just gets better and better.
One thing that stood out to me ahead of this interview was 83 wins for this program since 2019, second most Division One wins in the entire country since 2019. When you hear that, what does that mean to you to have had a hand in putting Missouri State on the map and leading the way nationwide as one of the elite programs in the NCAA?
Well, I'm just so proud for the players and the alumni and the staff and all that, and just for the university and for the city of Springfield and for the state of Missouri and to represent, right? So just so proud that we can bring such excitement and highlight what an unbelievable group we have and highlight what an unbelievable university and city that we all live in and work at. So it's just cool for the others to get the recognition. Probably as a coach, you're never satisfied, you're never comfortable, and I just don't think we've won enough. That means we've lost too many. We haven't won enough, right? And whether we've lost two in a season or one in a season or three or whatever it's been very few. But it's a few too many, and we won't be satisfied until we win a national championship, and we won't be satisfied until we put together a perfect season. And we're just going to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. So that's going to be our challenge in January. We're going to talk to the players, and we believe we have some of the best players in the country. But at the end of the day, you have to play and win the matches to show it. There's no point talking about it. So it's just a great pride to see what we've done to represent, and then it's a great challenge to carry forward and do more.
You mentioned it earlier that you'll move to the American this coming season. You've wrapped up your tenure in the Missouri Valley Conference. Obviously, the American, a very talented men's soccer league. But I'm curious if you could shed some light on, how those conversations go about, because as you mentioned, Conference USA no longer has a men's soccer league. So you all were looking. And so how did those conversations go about determining what league best fit Missouri State men's soccer's needs?
Well, it didn't take long. We announced that we were going to Conference USA, and one of the other coaches, one of the coaching leaders in the American, texted me maybe an hour later. Coach McIntosh at Tulsa texted me an hour later and said, "Welcome to the American. Call me." And so, of course, there wasn't an official invite then. It wasn't anything real, but it was a conversation that started within hours of Missouri State announcing Conference USA, and thankful for the coaches in the American that they were super supportive. Tom, obviously, initial communication, but all the coaches were super positive, super supportive. The administration in the American has been amazing to work with so far, and we're super excited and proactive to make it happen. And then we talked to our administration and said, okay, what's the best fit? Immediately, I asked the athletic director at the time, Kyle Moats, what he thought, and he thought the American would be a good fit even before I said anything about that text. And I said, well, okay, good, because I got this text, but also I feel the same. So we just thought it was a natural fit geographically. We thought it was a natural fit for the type of schools we want to be associated with and the type of what we're talking about, trying to win a national championship. And then we thought it was a good fit in terms of competition, of course. So that was awesome. It took a few months then to make that all happen and bring it to fruition, and it took some time and negotiate contracts and how it all works and all that stuff. But it was pretty quick, really. And then the new athletic director, Patrick Ransdale, has been amazing, equally supportive of the move and that commitment to be elite and go chase a championship. And so that's what we're going to do, and we're going to hopefully make the American a little bit stronger, and we hope the American will also help us create even a bigger national profile, and we believe that can happen. We know it's going to be a tough league.
That's actually my next question to you about how can the American benefit Missouri State? I mean, we look at some of the top tier programs in that conference. Charlotte and Kevin Langan, they've been to a College Cup. We know the success and the history of the Charlotte program. FIU, those two teams both played for the American Championship. Many thought FIU was on the bubble come Selection Monday. And so I'm curious, how does the American challenge Missouri State to be better and help you achieve that goal of breaking through to the next level?
Well, sometimes with change, you're forced to evaluate what you're doing and how you can improve it, right? So I think change as individuals, as players, as administration, we can look at it and go, okay, what are we doing really well, and then what do we need to work on and improve? So I think that change and that evolution, and it's also the evolution of Missouri State University to Conference USA, to the football to move to another level. All of that is elevating our athletic standing, and we hope that the profile of the American, the type of schools we're playing, the brand that is, will help elevate the university as a whole, and of course our soccer program. I think it's a cool league to recruit to, look at the competition, those opportunities. And although this year the American wasn't as strong in terms of the NCAA selection, traditionally it's been a 3, 4, 5 bid league, even more, and seeded teams like we were this year. And so we just feel like it's going to allow us from a competitive standpoint, from an RPI standpoint, to be in a really cool space. And then the other piece is testing yourself every week against top teams. Certainly makes you better when you come to postseason. So there's just so many cool pieces of it. And, having said that, the Valley was really strong this year, and no negatives with that. And the Valley's been an unbelievable home for a long time, and proud of our experience there. And certainly the Valley had 3 teams in the NCAA tournament this year, and it was a great league.
Listen, as someone who grew up in St. Louis, I went to many Arch Madnesses down in downtown St. Louis. I've fond memories of the Valley. Of course, that was the old Missouri Valley when you and I was in the league, in Creighton and Wichita State. It's been wild to see conference realignment, how things shake out. And, that leads me to my next question. You've been coaching since 1999. Your first job was at Elon. You've been at Division II Tampa. You were the head coach at West Virginia, an assistant, and now head coach at Missouri State. What's the biggest thing to you that has changed? Maybe the most difficult thing about being a modern day head coach at the Division I level?
Well, it's a great question, and it's interesting because we have all this going on, NIL, Alston that didn't exist. What's going to happen with this house settlement and all these things that are going on? But to me, that's all noise. The biggest thing that has changed is what you and I are doing right now, technology, right? And fortunately, that's something that I've always embraced, and that's just made it easier for us, right? We're able to be global much easier. We're able to stay in touch with our student athletes much easier. We're able to have those relationships no matter where we are in the world. So that's the biggest change, and that's just opened up. There's always been international players and the global market for soccer, but it's just made the world smaller, and I think that's really the biggest change. Because people say, "Oh, the coaching players different." I don't see it. I see when you got good players and good people, I don't have much of a different experience than I had 25 years ago. Those things are forever constant. But the big thing that's changed is what we're doing right now. I mean, and how can you utilize those things? Is it technology with statistics? Is it data? Is it GPS units? What are we doing in those things to be better coaches, better people, better players, and then have a better product on the field? That to me is the massive thing.
Real quick, we mentioned your previous stop at West Virginia. I just have to ask. University of Charleston, a Division II powerhouse. Marshall's in the College Cup this year. West Virginia in the College Cup last year. Did you ever think you'd see a day where the state of West Virginia is a hub for college soccer? Because as someone who used to work at one of those schools, I never thought I'd see that day.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. I think it goes a couple of things. There's some schools that have made the choice to invest and it's sort of like Missouri. Why has Missouri got three top programs? Because you've got three schools that are investing in the sport. And then I do think you have to give some credit to the coaches, right? So you've got coaches in Missouri that are doing it at a really high level, right? Certainly I hope I'm doing a good job, and it's hopefully the record speaks for itself. Kevin Kalish, we played a semifinal. We were both assistant coaches in 2001 when he was at SIUE and I was at University of Tampa, and competed in a Final Four for the D2 National Championship. So he's been a good coach for a long, long time, and then obviously Ryan Poor has done a great job at UMKC. So I think it's a little bit the same. You've got a state where maybe some coaches came in and did okay and did a pretty good job, and certainly we had some part in that in helping West Virginia get back to an NCAA tournament, get back to winning ways and building a culture. And then Chris Grassi came in at well, really Charleston started going well before Grassi got there, but he elevated it. But it was going well before, and then he's obviously now gone on to Marshall, and then the guys that coach West Virginia, all three played for me back at West Virginia, and so I think you brought some people in that made a commitment, and before Grassi, Marshall had some good teams as well, and so there's been a commitment from coaches. And then schools have started to invest more and more when they see there's some success, and then it starts to snowball on itself. So I think you've got a great history of investment in the sport with the schools, and then you've had some coaches that have had some longevity and some culture in those programs. And no, it really doesn't surprise me. I went there thinking you could do well in West Virginia, just like I came to Missouri State thinking you can do amazing in Missouri, and Missouri is one of the strongest places in college soccer in the country.
You mentioned something a minute ago. You talked about Ryan Poor at Kansas City. I had Coach Poor on the podcast earlier, and I asked him this same question about, we see the statistics, right? MLS just had its most attended season. The USL Championship just had its most watched championship final. In your estimation, how can college soccer get in on the growing popularity, especially with the World Cup coming up here in 2026?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been a lot of talk for a long time about what should we do with our season model and our championship. Should we get into a better situation with our championship? And I think that's something we've got to really keep thinking about and keep working on. And I've been involved in some of the leadership of that at the national level, and we try to continue to support that and push that forward. And how can we grow that? But then I think we've also got to use the brands that we have for our universities in a good way and recognize the modernness of how people view sports, how they consume sports. And it's not just in the stands in the old days. It's also social media, it's internet, it's television, it's all these things. It's ESPN Plus and that. So I think we got to get administrations at schools to understand that value, see that value. And I think Missouri State, they understand that. We talk about West Virginia. I think they've understood that. Some of the schools there, Charleston and Marshall and WU. And so I think we understand that at Missouri State. I think we got to bring that nationally where that value is. And then we've got to keep capitalizing on what an unbelievable level of sport it is. It is the highest level of amateur soccer football in the world. And we got to keep capitalizing that. So I think it's coming. I think it's growing. And I'll conclude that as far as this question with this, a few years ago, we did well. And the president of Missouri State University at the time asked me, boy, why has it moved the needle so much in our community to see you guys do well? And the thing I told him is President Smart, your son played soccer because I knew when he played, and now he's a young man and building his own life. And everyone your age and younger had kids and grandkids and everything else that played soccer. Everyone my age and younger has been exposed to soccer since the time we were kids. So as we age and more people are exposed, it's just going to keep snowballing and growing. I mean, people under 50 years old have been exposed to soccer their whole lives. People that were 100 years old, they didn't maybe have soccer at this level across America at that time. So I think that will just continue to snowball, and college soccer has just got to be a part of that and take advantage.
You're a former Duke law guy. Your Duke's rival, North Carolina, has been in the news a lot the last 24 hours. Bill Belichick, the
Yeah.
arguably the greatest NFL coach of all time, is going to coach down in Chapel Hill. One, that's wild. I never thought I'd see a world where Bill Belichick coached in college football. But what would be the college soccer equivalent of Bill Belichick going to North Carolina and coaching?
Well, I'll say Jose Mourinho. And I say that only because Jose had so much success, is elite level for so long. And then a little bit now has kind of been what's his next move and a little bit figuring it out. And I'd say that's probably about the same. So one of the greatest coaches of all time in our sport at the professional level coming in. You could say Pep Guardiola, but Pep Guardiola is still coaching at Man City, so he wasn't looking for a job, right? So Bill Belichick's looking for a job, and I think Jose's looking for a job, maybe. So someone like that, but super elite. I mean, Alec Ferguson, these sort of level, just elite coaches that did it well for so long, and you can learn so much from Bill Belichick, right? It's that thing I said earlier about doing your job, and that job hasn't changed. You got to be an elite performer every day. And I'm sure he's going to bring a lot of energy to North Carolina. And we just talked about those brands, and he's going to help grow that brand. And although I prefer the Duke brand myself.
Listen, I would pay good money to see Jose Mourinho's sideline antics on a college soccer touchline. I would pay that. I'd pay good money to see that. Coach, the last. Oh, go ahead.
We'll need a lot of money to get him here, I think.
That is also true. So I guess maybe I can help out a little bit there, maybe, if I'm willing to pay good money. But the last thing I wanted to ask you, for those that may not know about how special Springfield, Missouri is of a town, how special Missouri State is, just what is it about Springfield and Missouri State that is so special?
Well, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I mean, it is a large university. It's affordable. It's a great education. We have a tremendous business school and so many other great programs. And then it's also a great college town to live in, right? I mean, if you want to be a part of a university, it's so cool to be in a town that the university is at the center of everything that happens, right? And to me, that's the best way to be as a coach. And I think for our student athletes, the same. And then, we just live in a close-knit community around the school. Our guys walk every day to class and to the field. They can be there in 5 minutes. I live right around the corner and can walk to work every day. And so we just got this great culture and environment right downtown in Springfield, a metro area, close to 500,000 people, but we are the center of it. The university is the biggest thing in town for everything, for life, for sport, for jobs. It's just such an important part of the community. And then, it's also, a real part of America, right? I mean, it's affordable, the lifestyle's great, and people are so nice and so supportive. And so it's just such a cool space. We're able to combine sport and academics at such an awesome level. And it's just been a great thing. And that's why I've signed on to be here for such a long time. And I've got many more years to come on the contract and all those sort of things. And it's why our players, once they come here, they love it, and they gravitate towards it. And we've been so successful.
Listen, as a show me state guy, I'm in your corner. I love all the Missouri schools. Go Missouri State. Coach, thanks so much for taking some time to chop it up. Really, really fun interview. And as I mentioned before we started recording, have such immense respect for your program. So thank you.
No, thanks so much. It's great to meet you, and look forward to doing some things with you in the future.